Hello and welcome again back to PopCulture Reacts, and we are in the final stages of the Pain Remains trilogy by Lorna
Yep.
with part three in a Sea of Fire. So obviously, if you haven't watched part one and two, go back and watch them first.
Yeah. Yeah. I often say I'll put a link up there somewhere, but I never do. So that's a lie.
So yeah, pause,
Yeah.
jump back, and then come back. Hi
Yeah.
again.
Hi.
But if you didn't have to jump back, welcome back. So we will get into part three of the trilogy. Obviously, both of us in preferred part two to
Yes.
part one.
Yeah.
So shall we see if the trajectory continues?
Yeah. And
And
like as a story, and we've seen the story go through the videos, but obviously the story go through the videos and the story go through the music. Whichever way, like really kind of keen to see where they go to next. So
yes,
let's get it on the screen and let's
let's go.
go.
whatever your flavor, make big moves. Ciroc.
So, Mr. Seddon,
So just catching the pause button there before we got an advert didn't feel like the sort of song that had should be followed up by some crappy advert for probably some mobile game. Yeah, I really like that one as well. I think this actually, after I said about the part two, I think this might be my favorite part. But I think in all honesty, it probably is One Piece, isn't it? As much as it's split down into three parts, I think when you look at them all together, and obviously we've just done them in quick succession. You'll see them over 3 days. We didn't just stay in the same place for 3 days. We recorded them on a bounce, and I think you see those three jigsaw pieces slotting together really nicely when you go through the three in one go. Yeah, I there's the first minute and a half. Getting a horror movie right now, that should be in a horror movie, and then of course we transition into the song and musically where we are for a lot of the song. Strangely enough, as much as I think that might be my favourite, it is the one time across the three where I really do find myself agreeing with you. There's a bit the solo around. I think it's about sort of like the 3 minute 45 mark. And nothing against like the talent it takes to do it. It just felt a bit out of place for what was happening everywhere else. And yeah, I travel through that song, and then we get to the last minute, which obviously comes right the way down again to some very soft music that feels so counterbalance to where this track starts. Yeah, I just think it's other than that solo, which I think just didn't felt a little bit out of place to me. I think musically they've put together something wonderful here.
Yeah, this one for me, I prefer part two over of all
It's
the three. This
close for
one,
me. I just want to say that, I said this is my favourite. It is close. I'm not kind of going, oh yeah,
yeah,
it's not two out of the water. It's very close between the two for me.
this at times does just fall a little bit musically into generic metalcore, deathcore sort of stuff that is pretty standard. Not that's a bad thing. I like deathcore and metalcore, but this doesn't. The part two, it has the right sort of flow to it, and the solo sort of made a bit more sense, and
Okay, yeah.
it fit more as a whole. Where this, as you said, the solo could have done without it, but it doesn't do anything that's oh my god about it. It is for most other bands, it would be a perfect metalcore song or a deathcore song. But when you've just had the second one and gone, oh, it is a little bit to me is a bit of a step down,
I
but
don't
better
know.
than the first part.
I don't know. I think it had less to do than the
Yeah,
second. So we talked in part two about that invoking of pain, anger, anguish, etc., etc. I thought it had less to do, but more complicated things to do. Um, Bear with me here. I'm going somewhere. I promise. I'm just trying to make sure the words actually make sense. But I think this had a harder road to travel on the emotions. Now, I say this based off of like, and we all live in the same world, and we all get the same kind of media influences. But like you follow this story of basically the grief cycle, really,
yeah,
and I think we're traditionally indoctrinated to that last part being acceptance and effectively then coping afterwards. And this doesn't do that. I think this stays in. Well, I'm going to say stays in. It stays in the pain remaining, which
yeah,
obviously is the name of it. And I think, yeah, I think it on paper it had less to do, but I think what it had to do was really complicated because it had to kind of convince me of going. And again, I was coming to the mindset of going, and not necessarily happily ever after, but we'll get that natural conclusion we tend to get when we see these stories, and they didn't. And I think it's a testament to it that they kind of go, no, you know what, it doesn't. Even if it gets better, it doesn't get better. That pain will always remain. Like you will be like wanting to burn the world down, because the world can be bitterly unfair. And um, look, you listen to a lot more deathcore than me, so you're much more kind of have the authority to kind of go, yeah, I've heard lots of stuff of this before, but it almost didn't matter to me whether I'd heard stuff like this before or
mm.
not. It was all about, did it match what I think the song was trying to do, and it really did for me. And I don't know. I'm going to say something here. I don't know if this is because we just did three songs on the bounce, but I picked up nearly every lyric he was singing in that one, and
See
it
this,
didn't feel massively like it was too tempered down. So it wasn't kind of that last stretch of number
mm.
one. So it could just be me getting a tune three sings into doing it, but I don't know that we said anguish in the last one. Like I think where it was getting lyrically clearer on the delivery was because of that pain and anguish element, which this one sits at. Now I say that's how it was for me. Other people might kind of take the song as something else, but yeah, this felt like the ending of this story that you don't normally get, but the one that's closest to probably the truth of what people feel like.
yeah, it is that thing of where you know they always sort of go, oh, you lose someone,
Time's the great healer.
you
Yeah,
have your grief,
yeah,
time's a great healer.
yeah.
You move on, the world carries on. you'll find something new. Whereas this is very much no, fuck it, I'm burning it down.
Well, and you know, like the sad truth of it is, here we go. We'll get deep on this. Give us a deep song. We'll go deep. The world does carry on. You know, for
Yeah,
any of us who've gone through loss, the world will always carry on. Well, I say always. I guess there's a loss of the planet, but the world does carry on. But you don't necessarily carry on with it, and you might carry on in some ways. But yeah, I just think it's that kind of really. And yes, okay, ultimately, like the burn it all down. But I think it's just a really smart way of saying, you know, you that pain won't go, um, and that's reality, kids. And reality's hard sometimes, but you know the juxtaposition for that is that you probably only really feel that pain because of the great thing you had. You know,
yeah,
if you didn't care that much about what you were losing, you wouldn't feel that degree of sense of loss. Yeah, I think as a you know, I said I think this one maybe slightly edges it for me, but you know, 10 minutes later I'll probably go with the second one. But I will say, like, from what I wasn't, I was kind of, let's say, 60-40 on what I liked in that first one. I think putting them all together, yeah, I'm really impressed with it. And I said it on other ones. Even if the music isn't your cup of tea, get the lyrics, read the lyrics, because yeah, you know, I could see a lot of people who would get a lot from this, but that
yeah,
would never experience it because it's not in their wheelhouse. But I think they'd get a lot from it, so I would encourage people to, yeah, as I say, uh, find it in whatever format works for you, and if it's not listening to it, at least read the bugger.
yeah. So what you guys think down there? Either of just part three or as the whole.
Yeah.
As always, like, subscribe, ring the bell.
Well, the white whale has been slain, so we now need something else to say we'll react to, and then wait 6 months
it,
to actually get round to it.
it sits in the massive list.
Yeah, yeah.
As an update for the list, we are now at 151 after doing the Pain Remain trilogy. So if you have suggested something,
We're getting there.
it's in the
Yeah,
list.
yeah. Well,
Everything that has
and
been suggested is in there. It's just
and we
working our
want to
way
do,
through.
you know, you see like on the channel, and if you haven't, go and watch them. Like with we're doing like full albums of Ramstein now. We are splitting them down to the songs, and it's something we'd like to see more. So there are, and I think we said it before, you know, like we try and do some Christmas stuff, we try and do some Halloween stuff. I think we actually like the Halloween stuff the most, don't we? But but yeah, like we will get to all of them, but they will be interspersed with kind of some of the stuff that we want to do outside of that as well.
Yeah,
But we'll get there, we promise.
if we can not have to go work for the man and pay bills, then we would
Oh
do
yeah.
much more of this, and you'd get stuff much quicker. But until that point, and I don't have to have a 9 to 5.
Yeah, paying the bills is something that we all have to do, and unfortunately, it impinges on the things that we find fun and want to do, doesn't it?
Yes. But anyway, we will be back
Yeah,
very soon, and we will be doing more from the list.
we will be.
So yes, we will crack through some more. So yours, if you've suggested something at some point,
You might be
it might be
next.
yours
You
next.
might not be, but you might be.
Just come
keep
back and find
keep
out.
following. I don't think we've ever said this before, have we? Like I don't think we ever used the word notifications, so like ring the bell. But yeah, you know, like click those notifications on, and then you'll find out straight away whether you're next.
Exactly.
Yeah, great music.
Um, but until next time, goodbye.